Hello and welcome to the Belmont Journal, your source for hyperlocal news and community updates and all things local here in Belmont. I'm Mike Crowley, your host this week. Roger Colton continues our series looking at some of the oldest businesses in Belmont. This week taking a look at Linda's Donuts, which has been in business in Belmont since the 1960s. Here's more.
Linda's Donuts has been in my family for over 35 years. It's been in business since, I believe, the 60s. Its longevity, I would attribute it to a following, I would say, like almost like a cult following. Today, there are a lot of donut shops that use these big machines and they just cut them out, dozen a minute half the time. And we take time. Like if I feel a donut, I feel kind of crumbly. If it doesn't feel right, I'm not going to use it. I'm going to throw it out because we want to take pride and make sure that we're going to give somebody a good product, And I think that hand-cut donuts is a big part of that. You feel like you meet somebody new, you make new friends every day, but yet you still communicate with the same people all the time. I feel like being part of the Belmont community is kind of different than, I would say, having a business in another town, just because there are so many little institutions like us, and you have such a strong following. We've been making the same donuts for as long as I can remember. We might add a flavor, we might take something away, but we've always made the same thing. In the morning, I like to get the Boston cream chocolate frosted ready first because that gives them time to dry and they don't get too sticky. And that when I work on the other donuts, those ones go the quickest. We probably sell out of those the most, so I try to have plenty of those ready early. And then when those are done, I start on the jelly donuts. But the Boston cream, they just fly too fast to even make them. At Linda's Donuts, we try not to get caught up in the gimmicks. We try to have that old-fashioned diner feel, the old-fashioned donut shop. You get a sense of people getting to know each other. It is a meeting ground, for new people and for, old friends. I have a group here. They're in their 90s, and every morning they meet for coffee and breakfast. And they've been doing that for 50 years, We appreciate all the support that we've gotten from the Belmont residents, and we're so thankful that we're a part of this great town.
Joanna Tzouvelis, senior multimedia journalist with the Citizen-Herald, is with us again today to talk about the local news on This Week in the Citizen-Herald. Welcome back, Joanna.
Thank you, Mike. Always a pleasure to be here.
So I understand that there is a potential for more jobs in Belmont.
There is. And these jobs, potential jobs, are with the subcontractors for the Belmont Middle and High School project, which, as you know, Phase 1 construction's underway. The steel framing is up for the first portion of the grade 9 to 12 building, which will be about 4 stories high and a little more than 300 square feet.
300 square feet?
A little more than 300,000 square feet. Sorry, thank you for catching that. And there will be a topping off ceremony the end of April, which is a big milestone. That means the project is really going to start. You're going to see a lot of action over there, which means there is the potential jobs for 250 to 300 workers, according to Bill Lavallo, chairman of the Belmont Middle and High School Committee.
And these are basically jobs for the people who put all of the finishing touches on the building.
Right, more than a dozen different trades: landscaping, painting, metalworking, drywall, tiling, HVAC, roofing, so many different trades. Okay. And to find out about these potential job opportunities, there is a employment resource book that they'll have available. Skanska will have it available. And to see it and to find out more about it, you need to contact the owner's project manager, who is Tony Del Greco. The number for Tony is 781-258-6557, and his email is delgreco@chacompanies.com.
Okay, that's good to know, and hopefully we'll see some locals hired for the project.
Yes, because it needs to be finished. Their goal is to get it finished by September of 2021 so that the students in the current part of the building can move into the new part of the building, and then they'll demolish the current and start on the grade 7 and 8
This is the high
wing.
school students.
Right, exactly.
Well,
Timeline, got to stick to it. Luckily,
right.
the weather's been good.
So there's also the potential for more jobs, not in Belmont, but nearby.
Very nearby, one town over in Watertown. Are you familiar with the Arsenal Yards project?
I am.
It's pretty exciting. It's about a 250,000 square foot development that's going to include 50 retailers and restaurants, 300 apartments, a 146 room hotel. So there's a lot of job opportunities there.
Quite big.
Yeah.
And so what is the timeline for that project?
Well, there's already some businesses open. It doesn't look, people might think they're not, but they are. Marshall's is open, Gap, Old Navy,
So
Shake
these
Shack
are
and Chipotle.
So some of those are businesses that have been there previously,
Right.
and the development is going up
Yes,
around them.
but there's a lot of new things coming. In fact, as soon as March, there's a 7-screen Majestic movie theater that's going to be
That'll be
opening.
big.
Yes, and then there's a City Works Eatery and Pour House that is going to be opening also in March.
Okay.
And other restaurants, like one is called Condessa, another one is going to be the Kura Revolving Sushi Bar.
That's the one I'm looking forward to.
Pokeworks, which a lot of people are familiar with, another one called the Gallows. There's also going to be a Roach Brothers grocery store and some other new stores like Ulta, which is a makeup store. I think it's really exciting, and it's just one town over. For more information, people can visit arsenalyards.com.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, there's even opportunities for someone to open a business over there, leasing opportunities. And of course, in Belmont, we have the Bradford, but this is not as far, it's not far away, and it's easy for us to access more dining and shopping options for Belmont. I just wish the tax revenue could come to us, because it's going to bring Watertown excess of $4 million a year.
Well, when we get South Pleasant Street developed, maybe we'll
And
be able to
Bradford.
share in some of that revenue.
Yeah, a lot of dining and shopping options to come for Belmont residents.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Joanna. It's good to hear about all of the potential for new jobs, dining opportunities, and shopping.
Yes.
And we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay. If you've checked your mail recently, you've probably seen a mailer from Belmont's Recreation Department that has the programs, the spring and summer programs for our Recreation Department, as well as our Community Education Department of the Public Schools. And we're fortunate to have Chris Costello with us today. Chris, you're a program coordinator with the Recreation Department. What can you tell us about the offerings this year?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to come on here and talk about what we got going on for this spring and summer. We have a ton of programs for this spring, actually about 25 programs.
Okay.
And we have a lot of new exciting offerings. Just to highlight a few, we've really branched out into the STEM area. So we've got programs like Lego robotics. We have a children's architecture class, which is really interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and we also have a science class as well. So we've kind of expanded in that area. It seems to be an area of interest for the Belmont community, so we're proud to have those type of offerings.
Okay.
We've also expanded the fitness programs as well. We've brought back our adult Zumba program,
Okay.
which we previously had in 2016. But the interest kind of fizzled, but we're hearing that people want it back. So excited to have that as well. We also have a middle school volleyball program, which is new.
Okay.
So that's going to be fun. And then we also have some of our classic offerings, like our preschool T-ball program. That's a big hit. So all in all, it's going to be a pretty fun spring for the program.
That's great. So, the bulletin itself looks, and to my eyes, bigger than what I've seen in the past. Is this an expanded? Is this dramatically expanded over what Belmont has offered in the past? in terms
yes.
of programming?
Yes, it is. So the Recreation Department has expanded its offerings considerably, but also notably with the Belmont Bulletin from the fall and winter, and also this spring and summer, we've combined our programming with, at least from in the brochure, with community education.
Well, that's an important point. So instead of receiving separate information in the mail from the rec department and community education, it's all in one place now.
Yeah, so we tried to centralize our efforts as far as communicating out to the community. We've combined similar in nature programs into kind of a one-stop shop for all things recreation in town.
Now, people who are interested in the programs, they can register online, and there's information about that in the mailer, but we haven't achieved one-stop shopping, at least online yet. So for the recreation programs, you'll go to one place online, and for the community education, you'll go to a different place online to register, right?
That's right. So Town of Belmont's website, Recreation Department page is where you'll register for all the rec programs. And then School Department page, particularly community education, is where you'll register for all their programs.
Okay, and that's all clearly laid out in the bulletin, so people can find all that information there.
Yep.
Anything else that you'd like to add about the programming this year, or the effort to combine into these offerings into a single mailer, or?
Yeah, well, we've heard a lot of positive feedback about the new bulletin. It's certainly been great for us to kind of revamp things and put together a consistent effort for all the programming. So that's been exciting. We enjoy working with community education on all that stuff. So yeah, that's exciting. And then also, the summer is going to be a very exciting time too. We got the Underwood Pool. We've got our summer programs.
And the pool's opening early this year?
Yeah, a few days earlier. We're planning to open up on June 17th, kind of like an early season schedule. It's a little bit abbreviated. We're going to do 12 p.m. to 6 p.m., so early afternoon to late afternoon. Just trying to get it open a little bit earlier. We know people want to get out there and enjoy the sun and enjoy the community space the pool is, so that's going to be exciting.
Well, that sounds great, Chris, and glad to have you on the show, and hope to talk to you again sometime.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, and it's been a pleasure.
Welcome to This Week in the Belmontonian, our weekly segment with Franklin Tucker, editor of the Belmontonian, which you can find online at belmontonian.com. Welcome, Franklin. How are you?
Just fine, thank you.
So, I understand we have some election-related news.
That's right. We're in the election season officially starting on March 3rd, Tuesday, when Massachusetts is part of Super Tuesday. And those are presidential primaries. One thing you should realize about presidential primaries is that you have to be a member or you have to be affiliated with one of the four parties that have been that the Secretary of State Gavin has declared viable, basically, for this election. So that's the Democrats, Republicans, the Green Party, and the Libertarian.
No Pirate Party, no Pizza Party.
If you are in the Pirate Party or Pizza Party, you cannot vote, and they'll tell, and you'll be asked to leave one of the 8 precinct ballot the polling stations. We've had and what we've had this time is we've had early voting.
Right.
And it's was something that because of the interest in the presidential election this year, Secretary of State Gavin has decided that 5 days worth of early voting would take place, and it's been pretty successful here in Belmont.
What kind of numbers?
Town Clerk Ellen Cushman has informed us that over 200 people each day for Monday through Wednesday have come in. So that's a great number, more than 600 people taking advantage. Which is, again, early voting is different than absentee balloting, which means you're not going to be in town or there's some other reason you can't actually make it to the ballot.
Okay, so for the primary, if you're an unenrolled voter,
Yeah, you can then take a ballot. You can then, because what you can do is, because you're unenrolled, you can enroll yourself by asking for a Democrat or Republican or the other two ballots, and then you can vote. But if you want to go back to an unenrolled, you have to then go to the town clerk again and say, I'm unenrolled. Because the next time there's any kind of presidential or state primary, they'll give you a ballot, and you're like, I don't want this ballot anymore, and it's sorry.
Okay, well, that's good to know. And then, of course, we also have a town election coming up on April 7th, and that ballot has locked down. What's the news there?
Well, it's this year we have no contested races in any of the townwide positions.
So there's no competitive race.
That's right. So there's no one challenging Adam Dash for select board or any of the down ballot positions. There is always an active town meeting election that will be coming up. So that's something that you should look at.
So in fact, we do have precincts where you have more town meeting candidates than you have actual positions.
That's right.
So some of those will be competitive.
That's right.
All right. Well, so that election will be coming up April 7th, and we'll be staying tuned. And Franklin, thanks so much. We'll be talking with you again soon.
Thank you.
Okay. And now it's time for Chet Messer's Scoreboard with your local Belmont sports news.
The Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association basketball tournament is underway. Number 14 Reading came to Belmont to take them on in the preliminary round. Belmont held a 5-point lead throughout most of the first period and into 4:48 of the second period. Then the Belmont boys hit the Reading team with a 15-3 scoring blitz. First, Mac Annis hit a 3. Then Minicozy found Annis cutting for the hoop for 2 more. And suddenly, Belmont had a 10-point lead. Preston Jackson Stevens followed with another 3. After being fouled, Annis added a foul shot. Then 2 more free throws by Preston Jackson Stevens. Then a 3-pointer by Reading ended their drought. These points were earned right back as Avriano found Jackson Stevens cutting for the hoop. 2 more foul shots by Preston Jackson Stevens gave Belmont a halftime lead of 35-18, on the way to an 87-45 victory. Belmont's top 3 scorers were named All-League this past week. The girls' basketball team traveled to Cambridge Ringe and Latin for their preliminary round game. Belmont was only down 2 at halftime, but Ruff with 7 3-pointers, Harris with 3 3-pointers, and Sophia Vidal with 15 points led the Falcons to victory. With 7 minutes to go in the fourth period, Belmont trailed by 5, but Ruff hit her 7th 3-pointer from the corner. Minicozy found Sophia McDevitt underneath for 2 points. Then a Harris 3-pointer put the Falcons up by 11. Belmont failed to score in their next possession, and another 3-pointer by Harris. And the Minicozy to Sophia McDevitt duo worked again. On the inbound play, Vitale went the length of the court for a basket and a foul shot, all but ending the Marauders' season. Cristofori and Minicozy were the top scorers and returned next season. With wins in their preliminary games, both the girls and boys ice hockey teams advanced to the quarterfinals. More on hockey in the next report.
And now it's time for our community calendar with Hannah Fischer. Hannah tells us all about what's happening and what you can look forward to in Belmont this week.
Hello, this is Hannah Fischer with your community calendar. On Sunday, March 1st at 12:45 p.m. at the First Church Belmont, participate in a timely conversation between generations when author Frances Moore Lepay and activist and organizer Adam Eichen discuss their book, Daring Democracy. This is an optimistic book for Americans who are asking, what do we do now? The answer, according to Lepay and Eichen, is to organize and fight to protect and expand our democracy. For more information, visit uubelmont.org. A top question on many minds is, what can I do for the environment? On Tuesday, March 3rd at 7 o'clock p.m., head over to Belmont Books to learn about your environmental impact. Author Tatiana Schlossberg, a former New York Times science writer, wrote her book Inconspicuous Consumption as an urgent call to action that will empower readers to stand up to climate change and environmental pollution by making simple but impactful everyday choices. More information available at belmontbooks.com. We may have had a 60-degree day on Monday, but it's still technically winter. This is great news for middle schoolers who could stroll down to the Belmont Public Library on Wednesday, March 4th at 1:30 p.m. for homework, hot chocolate, snacks, games, and crafts in the assembly room. Do you find yourself constantly reminding your teen to put down their phone or other screen? On Wednesday, March 4th at 7 o'clock p.m., The Love Child is hosting a parent conversation on teens, screen time, and social media. Now is your chance to chat with other parents struggling with the same screen time concerns. To register, visit lovechild.net. If relishing the last days of winter isn't your thing, I have just the event for you. The Philharmonic Society of Arlington is holding the Arlington Belmont Chorale and the Arlington Belmont Chamber Chorus for an almost spring concert. Prepare yourself for some glorious springtime music on Sunday, March 8th at 3 p.m. at the First Parish Unitarian Universalist Church. Visit psaarlington.org for the complete concert program. Books and Bites are on tap at the Belmont Public Library on Monday, March 9th at 11 a.m. Join author Marjan Kamali as she discusses her novel, The Stationery Shop. The novel is set in Tehran in 1953 against the backdrop of the Iranian coup. Refreshments will be provided and books will be available for purchase or signing. More information available at belmontpubliclibrary.net. That's it for this week's community calendar. If you'd like to see your event featured on this program in the future, please email event details to calendar@peterandhannah.com. Thanks, and see you next time.
The decennial federal census is coming, and you're expected to participate. Here's a public service announcement produced by Lynn Community TV, which aims to answer some of your questions about the census.
In 2020, the U.S. Census will work to create an accurate picture of everyone who lives here. But why fill out the census? What is asked? And how is your information protected? The 2020 census is quick, and the questions asked are simple. They will ask how many people are living in your home, if you rent or own, and everyone's gender, age, and race. The census will never ask for your social security number, political affiliation, money, bank information, or citizenship status. If anyone asks this claiming to be from the census, they are trying to scam you. The census provides information that helps the government provide many things. For every person not counted, the city loses $2,400 in federal funding every year. It also helps determine how many representatives each state gets in Congress. Census information helps cities get grants and other money for infrastructure and road improvements, free and reduced lunch programs, childcare development, and much more. Your privacy matters. Under Title 13 of the U.S. Code, all answers given to the census are 100% anonymous by law and used only to produce statistics. All information about individuals is then kept confidential until 72 years after it was collected. How do you participate? This year, the census is offering a full online response option, along with phone and paper options. From March 12th to the 20th, there will be an invite to respond online sent to all homes, with reminders sent out if you don't respond. August through October, census workers will be out knocking on doors of those that haven't responded yet. So when the time comes, take a few minutes out to do this once-in-a-decade duty. For more information about the census, visit 2020census.gov.
We finish our show with a programming update for your Belmont Media Center channels. Be sure to watch. And if you have any news or updates, or if you'd like to volunteer, please let us know. You can contact Frederic Rigoleau at fred@belmontmedia.org. Well, that's all for this week. I'm Mike Crowley. This is the Belmont Journal, and we'll see you next time.